I want to start with a story, one that I don't really love telling, but it was the starting point of changing myself. It's 2019 in Berlin. I just started my business and was finally making money. I was really fired up and ready to let it take off. And then COVID hit. And just like that, all of my clients and the money vanished. To manage stress and fill the emptiness inside, I started using different substances to change my state. Something to feel happy and in love, something for creativity or for chilling or for energy. Yeah, and Berlin made it kind of easy. And while I adapted my business to online, there were also days where this coping strategy got kind of out of hand. I woke up, smoked, took whatever was available, and just drifted in this dreamlike psychedelic states without any worries. One day, I was in this small Airbnb cabin in the woods, and I remember this one morning where I was sitting on the toilet after the first line, and I asked myself, when did I start this trip? Was it yesterday, last week, or last year? Or maybe is this my actual reality? I don't know anymore. What is the trip? And on New Year's Eve, I didn't make some big resolution to quit. Instead, I broke down in tears and asked myself, what void am I filling? What am I running away from? What do I secretly want but am too scared and too embarrassed to ask for? I want my life to be a real adventure. Final Fantasy, Star Ocean, Grandia, like in all these roleplay games I played growing up, with an unexplored world map going from city to city and working along the way. I don't want to be a mediocre German citizen with a normal life as an office vegetable and some kind of job living for 2 vacations a year. So I ended the lease on my apartment and had 6 months left to sell everything I owned to finance this new lifestyle idea that I had. And in the end, I did have a few €1,000, which was enough for some months in a simple Airbnb in a Sicilian mountain village. And today, I have lived in different cities, in Malaysia, in Thailand, in Vietnam, in Japan. My business is fully online and I have been sober for years. The reason why I'm telling you this story is it was not about the habit, the coping strategy. The real identity shift was going where it's embarrassing. Your secret heart's desire. So how do you actually start? How do you figure out what you want if you've never really had it? So let's start with some theory and some real-life examples to make it really easy. There is a great quote by Albert Einstein. Wenn du es nicht einfach erklären kannst, hast du es nicht gut genug verstanden. If you can't explain it simply, you don't understand it well enough. The process is simple. Aware, explore, apply, integrate. 4 phases that work in a loop. Aware, explore, apply, integrate. And once you're aware of this simple process of transformation and explore it now together with me and then on your own in your day-to-day life, you can apply your insights to every problem, every change you wish to have in your life, and then integrate your experiences into your life to change it permanently. Starting with aware. We all know it, right? The first step to understanding is self-awareness. Know thyself. If you are unsatisfied with your life, it starts with figuring out what exactly is unsatisfying. No one else can tell you what your deepest heart's desire is. Do all the self-improvement stuff you want, go to therapy, or just live your life until there is this 1 millisecond, this one moment where you feel, oh wow, I want that. And take note of this one moment. Maybe your colleague ran a Tough Mudder and you want that too. Or you saw a couple being very gentle and present with each other and you want that in your life. Or you watched a video about a digital nomad couple that's traveled the world and is currently staying in Japan. And your biggest dream is to go to Japan and not as a tourist. Once you feel this heart's desire, this one small moment, then it's time to explore. And this is where most people trip up. They skip the exploring and jump straight into action, massive action, or they jump straight into excuses and doubts why it's not possible. But here's the thing, no one can tell you what your desire is, and no one can tell you what your path to that goal is. Because for it to work permanently, you have to find your own way. And that's the problem with all these self-help videos. What works for one person does not need to work for the other. All the fitness influencers go to the gym. So what? Dance, martial arts, bouldering, anything works if you love it. Ask yourself, do you need a team or maybe a personal trainer? Do you love scoring points and winning matches? Or do you want to do a performance of something, a choreography? It's more important to be consistent with your hula hooping classes than going to the gym once a month because you feel guilty. So let's look at relationships and sexuality. Ask yourself, what is really important to you right now? Is it about meeting someone casually? That's really fine. Is it about discovering the magic in your sensuality, in your body, maybe even without a partner? Or is it about finding someone to build your life with, going through laughing and crying until the end? And maybe you can't travel for longer because of reason X. Let me tell you, I have seen the craziest life and work and family models, and they were all normal people who just dug deeper, were committed to their desire and found what's possible for them. Do you want to just travel and experience many different cultures of the world? Do you prefer to stay in one country and really immerse yourself in the everyday life? Or do you want to go volunteering and help in one country and keep it to yourself for now? Family, friends, and partners can sometimes be the biggest dream killers, especially when what you want threatens the version of you they are used to. So if you have found a desire, then explore it. Just play with it in your head. What would your everyday life look like? How would you feel? What or who would have to go? Until there is also this one moment, this small moment of clarity where something clicks. And then it's about going into action. The apply phase. Action creates clarity, but not blind, massive action. Commit to one step, one change. It could be as dramatic as canceling your apartment contract like I did, which was a point of no return and forced me to take this action afterwards. The point is one committed step into the new you. Maybe it is a gym membership or a dance class or committing to a team sport or paying a personal trainer. For exploring your sensuality, you could book a session with a sexual therapist, like I did, or find a reputable tantra class and go there, which I did too. And instead of dating apps, you could try a hobby group, like an art class or even a Magic the Gathering meetup, like friends of mine did where they met. And now, many years later, they're talking about marriage and still playing Magic. Or maybe the first step is to end the current relationship you're in because you really don't want it to work anymore. You don't feel like there is any purpose to fight any longer. Talking about burning bridges. And the same goes for your job. I quit mine before starting my business with no backup plan. I just couldn't bring myself to spend my life force building someone else's dream. And that might not be your path. Maybe it's going part-time, which I also did before, or exploring entrepreneurship. And for that, don't wait for the perfect business idea. It will not come that way. Just go, for example, to a local entrepreneur meetup and feel the energy. That's what I did in the beginning. And that's how I met my first entrepreneur friends who were a little further along the road. But I felt so inspired just talking to them and feeling their energy and their passion. Da, 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 that was it. That's your adventure. You made it. Congratulations. Thank you for watching. And no, what really brings everything together is integrate. Aware, explore, apply, and now integrate. We live in a culture obsessed with the doing. But integration requires being. Because in the end, you want to be the new you, right? Not just do these things it would do. It sounds so obvious, right? Integration of your insights and actions. But this is where most programs and self-help content fail. So let's look at the oldest transformation story we know in our culture. Joseph Campbell called it the hero's journey. And yes, I'm gonna say it. You are the hero. I am the hero. We all can be the hero in our life. And heroism isn't about saving others. It's about having the courage to face yourself, to look in the mirror at your ego, your fears, the unknown within. And that's what makes it heroic. By confronting themselves and overcoming their fears and their failures, our hero is transformed. And then the transformed hero returns home to transform the world they came from. What really completes the journey is not just surviving the chaos and becoming this new you, the superhero, but returning to the world changed and living from that change to change the world around you. The researcher Susan L. Ross makes it clear in her papers and her book. The transformation of the hero is not complete unless it is psychospiritually integrated into daily life. Meaning you went on the adventure, you did something crazy and scary. You changed. But now, daily life is waiting. And you need to bring your new self into that life. Otherwise, your old life and the people in it will drag you down again. That is this identity shift many videos talk about. It's not just about becoming someone new, it's about letting the old self die again and again. Only then your outside world will transform permanently as well. And honestly, that is where shit hits the fan. Integration often feels like breaking down, like you lost control over your life, you are consumed by depression, you hate everyone and everything. Just shut the fuck up, everyone, leave me alone. And after this quiet withdrawal, if you really allow yourself to go through all of that with empathy and self-love, then the new version of you can emerge. Like a caterpillar has to turn to violent goo before becoming the butterfly. Let me give you some real-life examples of what integration looks like. So you want to get fit, but you just can't stick to anything. You start hating yourself. Then you dig deeper and you remember PE classes where you were picked last and you felt so ashamed of yourself. Or when the boys laughed at you because you were sitting on the sidelines as you had period cramps. Or maybe you're just honestly too burnt out from work. Then maybe work is the actual problem. Regarding meeting new people, you joined a Magic the Gathering or Warhammer or Lego building group, but you just can't talk to anyone, although you love the activity, because somewhere you decided you're shy and introvert. You just can't talk to people. Integration here might mean taking an honest look at those beliefs. Are they really true? Do you remember different times where you maybe were not shy? On the other hand, you might hate these dating apps, but you still keep using them because part of you believes adults don't have time for fun, for any kind of fun groups or activities. Okay, but that also means that there is no time for a relationship and love. Integration means noticing these contradicting parts within yourself and holding space for both. Or you did it and you went to Japan, a month of volunteering in an animal shelter, cleaning cat poop, walking dogs, and you realize you hate your agency job. So what now? Save for the next vacation or start searching for a career that matches the new you. If you can really integrate the change in your life, it becomes your new baseline and you can't go back to how it was before. The old you died. There is nothing to go back to. And this awareness might start a new cycle of growth as you are literally seeing the world with changed eyes. So to summarize, at its core, your hero journey only has two parts. The doing part, aware, explore, apply, and the being part, integrate. And those two parts are linked by your willingness to face the inner darkness, to face your social conditioning, your parents, your fears, your ego. This is what creates a complete and permanent identity shift. And expect resistance, internal and external. but be curious about it, because the goal is to integrate these new experiences into your identity, and the negative emotions and the resistance are the gateway to that. Is it just the pain to get your ass up and do something new and uncomfortable? Then recommit again and again. Or did you actually open the doors to wounds and shadows from the past creeping up, like low self-worth, low confidence? Then this is not failure on your part. This is the journey. It's not only normal to have these thoughts and feelings, but it belongs to the process of change. If you feel stuck in a sucky job, a sucky relationship, a sucky life, then let me tell you from my and my clients' experiences, you do know what you want. You might just be too afraid or ashamed to admit it. And if you know your secret desire, but you keep telling yourself, I'll focus on it someday, one day, after this project, after my child left home, just remember, someday is not a weekday. It might never come. Bronnie Ware, a former palliative carer, talked to people on their deathbed. And the number one regret of the dying is, I wish I had the courage to live a life true to myself, not the life others expected of me. I don't want that to be our story. And I want to support you, because I believe doing your thing from the heart, your real desire, what really lights you up, will actually save this crazy world.